Welcome to my video on managing imposter syndrome in freelance content writing. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to this channel. My name is Alexandria. You can find me on Instagram at Millennial Nursepreneur. So, we're going to be talking about managing imposter syndrome, specifically in freelance writing. And we're going to be talking about that because I went through it and I get the feeling I'm not the only one. So let's talk about what exactly imposter syndrome is. So I have a definition here. It is an internal belief that one has not genuinely earned their accomplishments despite evidence on the contrary. That is a very loaded definition, but really it's you've achieved these things, yet you're telling yourself you don't deserve the success that follows. And I want to talk about this because, again, I know I'm not the only one who experiences this. And it's not just because I'm a Black woman with a PhD in nursing. It's not just because I'm a business owner. It's not for any one particular reason. Sometimes we achieve things that we had no idea that are in our wildest dreams that we can achieve or could achieve, and we achieve them. And sometimes we run into these situations where we think, oh my God, everyone else around me is so much smarter than me, or they're so much further ahead than me. I'll never get there because I never even thought that I'd get to the point that I'm at. And I'm here to tell you, imposter syndrome is so very real, and it can really be debilitating for you and the success of your business if you don't get a handle on it. So I want to talk about some ways to mitigate or to try to overcome imposter syndrome. And before I even get started, I'll be completely honest. This is still something that I'm working on, and it's important for me to tell you guys that because I need you to know, if you're going to go into freelance writing as a nurse or as a healthcare professional of any kind, that it's totally possible. Like, you just have to stick with it. Okay, so one of the ways to overcome imposter syndrome is to understand and accept the feeling as a feeling, not as a law. So it's okay to have these feelings. Having these feelings of, feeling kind of like you're doubting yourself, it's not abnormal. But you also have to acknowledge those feelings so that you can get a handle on them. Once you can acknowledge that, it's like acknowledging that you have some type of problem. Once you acknowledge the problem, then you can start to work on how to overcome the problem or how to fix the problem, right? And so with imposter syndrome, it's important that you understand that these are feelings and you're entitled to your feelings. However, you don't want to linger in those feelings for too long because they simply are not true. The next step is to remember your past achievements. So I know sometimes when I'm writing for grants or I'm writing, my CV or updating my CV, and, someone asks me to write accomplishments and achievements, I really struggle with this. But let me tell you, you can go to my Facebook or my LinkedIn or my Instagram and find me having celebrated these milestones that I quickly mull over and pretend that they're not past achievements. It's really important that you stop, take a breath, and realize that your achievements are indicators or proof of your ability to do something positive, something impactful, something that will influence other people or generations to come. So make sure that you're focusing on those little bitty reminders to give yourself about previous achievements so that you can start to work on overcoming that imposter syndrome. Connect with other freelance writers. Oh my goodness. So LinkedIn is definitely the place to do exactly that. The minute that you put on LinkedIn that you are a freelance writer, I promise you, people you have never met, people you've heard of maybe once or twice, people maybe you follow, they are going to flock to you. And networking at conferences is also a great opportunity to connect with other freelance writers. And this is really important, especially in the beginning, because there's so much that you may not know and so much that you're dealing with, so many challenges. And, you know, what better way to overcome those challenges and celebrate those wins with people who have already been there and maybe are not that far ahead of you? Or, you know, you're going to find people who have been freelance writers for longer than you, much longer than you, but they haven't done some of the things that you've already done. They haven't gotten a client that they've been able to retain, or they haven't set up their website or created a portfolio for all of their samples. These are things that you will learn as you connect with other freelance writers, and they really kind of help you mold yourself and shape yourself into this budding freelancer. Okay, the next step: celebrate the wins, even the small ones. And this is, again, really important because there will be days, there will be weeks, sometimes there will be months where you're like, what the hell? I'm not winning the way that I feel as though I should. When I started my freelance writing business, it took me about 9 months before I got my first client. And I have to give myself grace, and hindsight is always 2020, but I have to give myself grace and understanding in that I started my freelance writing business when I was in the middle of getting a PhD. I started my business the very year that I graduated with my PhD. So I was in the middle of doing the data collection for my dissertation and writing up my defense. And I decided I was going to go start a business. Who does that? I do, apparently, but that was a win. I knew that I had wanted to start the business, and I had wanted to start the business for a while. And, something kind of hit me where I said, okay, well, what am I waiting on? If I keep waiting on the right time, I'm at this point, I said I'm going for my PhD. I shouldn't be going for any more education, but I'm always striving for something new without even realizing that I'm doing that, because just as soon as I say I'm done, I'm tired, I don't want to learn anything new, I always find myself in a new challenge. And freelance writing was that new challenge. And within that new challenge of freelance writing and starting your freelance writing business, there will always be small wins or large wins, any wins. Celebrate all of it, because it's really important that you pat yourself on the back when you've done something that a lot of other people are not going to do. My last tip is to keep learning. And I don't necessarily mean in the form of CEUs. You can, which is totally fine if you do, but I mean continue to learn from other freelancers, from writers, from editors. Keep your mind sharp. Keep moving with learning new things around freelance writing. Freelance writing, again, is very similar to nursing in that there are a lot of avenues that you can venture into with this. You can become an editor or a reviewer, you can become an author, you can become a course content writer, you can become a website builder, you can go into so many different things just off of starting as a freelance writer. So make sure that you keep yourself in a position where you're always wanting to learn something new, but also take time to grow your craft and your skills. That is all I have for this video. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to this channel. If you're interested in creating or starting your freelance writing business, I have a course specifically for nurses and other healthcare professionals to help them get started. I will leave a link to that in the description.